Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to the webinar. I'm Andy Sleeth, and I'm the International Marketing Manager for GL Education, and I'll be your host for the course of this presentation. In a minute, Jessica Watson will tell us all about the new training, but first of all, a bit of housekeeping. The webinar is being recorded, and we'll get that recording out so that you can share it with colleagues early next week. During the course of the presentation, we'll keep everybody muted so that we can keep to schedule. And if you have any questions, please address those in the Q&A box to myself, the host. I'll pick those up and I'll relay those to Jess at the end of the presentation. If you have any technical problems, then put those in the chat box, address those to all the panelists. And my colleague Stephanie D'Souza, who's supporting us here, will pick those up and try and help you. So as you can imagine, we can't travel very much at the moment, so a lot of the training that we do face-to-face around the world has had to be rearranged and reconfigured to move it online. That, and along with a lot of other training that we were developing for this year, means that there's an awful lot on this term for schools to benefit from. So to try and help you navigate all those choices, Jessica Watson, who's been developing a lot of those courses, is here to tell us more. Jess, can you take us away, please?
Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. It's really good to see so many people interested to hear what support is available for you over the next few months. We've got a lot of different options for you. So what I'm going to be doing this morning is to take you through the different options that are available, the format of the support, because we've got different format options depending on what suits you best. And we've also got various levels. So if you are brand new to GL and using some of our assessments, if you are a senior leader versus a classroom teacher, there's different options for you. So the plan today is to take you through and explain exactly what we've got for you. And also I've got some links provided as well. I'll try and remember to put them into the chat box as well towards the end so you can click the link to it. But yeah, I've provided the link so you know where you can do the sign-ups. Okay, so from September, we have a number of different online workshops, online webinar series to support you in utilising the data, understanding the assessments that you are using and get the most out of it. And as I said, there's various different formats. So we've got practitioner-led courses, where you're supported by a practitioner over a number of weeks. We've got webinar series, which have follow-up self-study activities suggested there as well. And we've also got some new, brand new, self-guided courses. The website I put here, I've tried to remember to put it on a number of different slides, but that's the main one. If you want to find out refresh your memory after this webinar, then that website there on our webpage under training, that's where you'll find even more information and the sign-up links. So I'm going to start with the practitioner-led courses. Now we have 3 different practitioner-led courses. Some of you may have used or been on one of these before. They are through an online format, and the practitioner that will lead you through them and support you is Matthew Savage. He was formerly head of the International Community School in Amman. He's worked in schools across Europe, Asia and the Middle East, and he also, he's consulted a number of different schools across the world. These are very popular courses. So if you are interested in one of these, and I will talk in a bit more detail about them, but if you are interested in them, I would highly recommend signing up as soon as possible, because they do get booked up very quickly. So first of all, I'll take you through each one. So the first one I'm going to talk about is using CAT4 data effectively. So it's a practitioner-led online course that covers the following different aspects of CAT4. So it's the function and format of the CAT4 test. So what is it? How does it work? But also it goes through how to schedule and administer the test effectively, how to collect, collate and share the data with teachers and other academic staff, to interpret and analyse the data to inform both admissions and also learning and teaching, and then use the data to identify and meet a variety of different learning needs. The last bullet point is really crucial, and there is an expectation that you will engage in the discussion forums, feedback, share practice with others, get ideas from others. So there is an interactive element there, both with other participants on the course and with Matthew Savage. So who should attend? So it is for you if you are a school leader, you've got some knowledge of Cat 4 and you plan to introduce it or are currently using it. So this isn't for classroom teachers, this is specifically to those who have a responsibility for data or for the Cat 4 assessment or for assessments in general. And I've also got the dates here. So there are 2 dates available. So there's 2 courses that will be running. They're exactly the same. It's just we know they're super popular. So there's 2 running. So for the first one starts on the 20th of September, and the next one's from the 18th of October. Okay. The next one that's on offer as well is the PT series. So using PT series data effectively. So very similar to Cat 4, but it's for the progress test series. So if you use the progress test series and you want to learn more about how you can really maximise your use of the data, then this course will go through that for you. So you've got the function and format of the test itself, how to administer and schedule the tests, collecting, collating and sharing data with teachers and other academic staff, interpretation and analysis of data, use of the data to identify and structure interventions both for individuals and for groups, and then how to use it to measure and evidence achievement and progress. Again, like the Cat 4, there is an element of interactivity and discussion. So there is an expectation that you will feed back on your learnings, engage with others in the discussion forum, and just to get the maximum benefit out of this. So sharing good practice across the participants. And again, it's most suited towards school leaders. So if you are a school leader with a responsibility for data, for the progress test series, because there is an expectation that you will talk through with your staffing teams, and you'll use your learnings to inform others and work with others. So again, you should be planning to use or using the progress test series. And there are 2 courses available. I believe they're running parallel. So you've got from Sunday the 27th of September. That's that one. So there's 2 again, because as I said, these are really, really popular. So I'll keep saying it, but if you are interested in the Matthew Savage practitioner-led courses, I would highly recommend signing up as soon as you possibly can. And then the final one that Matthew is running is the data triangulation. So this is more of kind of like a step up. So maybe you've done the Cat 4 course before, or you've been to a Cat 4 onboarding session, or you've had a consultation with your consultant and gone through the Cat 4 data, and you're now looking at how you can effectively triangulate data. The course itself, it covers triangulation of the 3 strands of data, so ability, attainment and well-being data. It goes into a really nice detail about the PASS survey, so if you're using the attitudinal survey, how you can combine Cat 4 and PASS, and there are a number of case studies included as well. If you do not do the progress test series, that's fine. The focus here is for GL assessments is Cat 4 and PASS, but it also brings in how you can then start combining your attainment tests as well. But this is really next level up. So if you are no longer a beginner, you understand and are using CAT4 effectively, your attainment tests, be that the progress test series, and you want to start looking at triangulating data, different models for doing that, different examples of that, then this is the course that you want to be looking at. So in terms of who this is aimed at, so you should be confident and competent in the use of data with a genuine interest in passing CAT4. I've highlighted this one, so you be involved in the management and use of whole school student level data. So if you're an assessment coordinator, a senior leader with a responsibility for data, then this is the course that would be good for you. So again, it's not suitable for you if you are, or if you're thinking about someone who is an administrator, or a data analyst or a classroom teacher. It's really for those in school leadership. And again, these dates are all on our website as well. So if you don't manage to note them down, they are all up there. Again, we've got 2 dates available. So we've got from Sunday the 20th of September, and then also from Sunday the 8th of November. So those are the 3 different practitioner-led courses. So CAT4 and PT, if you're just starting your journey with those assessments, want to know how in your position of leadership you can really utilise and benefit from the data. And then the data triangulation, which is level 2, it's more advanced, looking at how to combine the data together. And the expectation is you will already have a really sound knowledge of the CAT4 data. Okay. Then we also have 2 webinar series that will be running from October. There's one which is the Return to School series and one which is the Data for Leadership. There will be an element of interactivity. These will be delivered via WebEx. There'll be opportunities for you to interact with the trainer that is leading these workshops, and there will be tasks set for you after, so that you can go away and do some further reading and engage with your own data as well. But these are different from the practitioner-led courses in that there isn't the discussion forums and things like that. And they are slightly different as well. So the first one is the Return to School series. So there are 4 different webinars designed to support school leaders and teachers in utilising and compiling assessment data from CAT4, which will be covered in week 1, the Progress Test series in week 2, Literacy, so the new group reading test in week 3, and then Pass in week 4. The idea of this is they're sort of like mini onboarding. So as Andy said at the start, usually the consultants and trainers will be running training sessions across the world, and that's what we usually do during term time. But unfortunately, this year it's probably not going to be possible. So we're trying to find ways in which we can support you. So these are like mini onboarding sessions. It's about 30 to 45-minute webinar. They are interactive in nature, and each week will cover a different assessment. The idea is that it builds. So in week 1, we look at CAT4. In week 2, it's the Progress Test series, and then we also look at combining CAT4 with attainment data. The literacy one looks at specifically at NGRT, but how you can work through that literacy assessment flowchart. So you might start with CAT4, go to NGRT, and then use one of our screeners. So it is, if you're only using 1 or 2, you can attend these webinars, but we will be building up to get that whole student view with Pass at the end. So 30 to 45 minutes of webinar each week, and then follow up reading and data analysis tasks that we set for you so that you can practice and look at your own data using the guidance and the analysis strategies that we suggest during the webinar itself. So in terms of who should attend, so who's it for? We've got a number of different, so principals, deputy principals, heads of assessment, curriculum coordinators, and whoever is responsible for ensuring the effective use of assessments within the school. It may be beneficial to tune in as a teacher, because it goes through, what is the assessment, how do you interpret the reports. But if you are someone who has a responsibility for assessment data, you can then go on and work with your staff and share your knowledge and expertise that you've learned from these sessions. And it's running from the 1st of October. So the first session is on the 1st of October and it runs over 4 weeks. The second webinar series that we are running is the Data for Leadership. So this is, as the name suggests, specifically for those with a responsibility for data in the school. And the focus here is on CAT4, how to utilise CAT4 and cascade the use of CAT4 across the school. So each week, it's over 4 weeks, participants will engage with their own assessment data to build an assessment strategy to support school evaluation. So it's about how do you effectively schedule the CAT4 assessment training for your staff, who you want to be utilising the data at different levels. You will be guided through example analysis, so that can be used to support other colleagues in interpreting the data, and develop your own school assessment plan. This is a course that's specifically aimed at leaders, so this is not suitable for administrators, for those that just have a responsibility for test-wise and classroom teachers. It's not suitable for, because this is looking at top-level strategy for building in your use of CAT4 data across the school over the long term. And this one, again, it's 4 weeks, 4 webinars, about 30 to 45 minutes each webinar, and then there's suggested follow-up activities as well. So suggested strategies that we would advise that you do before you attend the next one. Similar to data triangulation, this is like level 2. So if you don't have a solid understanding of CAT4, this will be quite tricky, because the expectation is for this particular course, you will already have a sound knowledge, working knowledge of CAT4. And then, very exciting, we do also have some self-guided modules specifically for teachers. As you probably have seen from the first set of slides, a lot of those are specifically aimed at leadership, senior and middle leaders. But what we have also developed, brand new, very exciting, is a course specifically for classroom teachers. So this is the CAT4 Strategies for Learning course, and it's online, self-guided, so it's not practitioner-led. It's for the teachers to work through over a period of 6 weeks. So 6 modules that they work through online, and then again there are suggested self-study tasks to complete. Let's give you a bit more information about this. So the background to this: some of you may remember that we published this document, the CAT4 Strategies for Learning document. This was developed by Neil McRae, one of our trainers at GL Education. And he developed this document to support teachers in getting the most out of the CAT4 data. It goes through different student profiles. So it goes from a balanced high ability profile to a balanced low ability, and then every extreme from mild verbal bias to extreme spatial bias. It goes through examples of each of those, what the CAT4 data will look like if you have that profile, and then classroom specific strategies that teachers can use with the students. And the purpose of this was essentially to improve the quality of student learning in the classroom. So it was new this year, and can be used by teachers to reflect on their current teaching practice and get some ideas about what works and what might be a useful strategy to use with different students. It's not age or subject specific. There's a ton of examples in there that teachers can use, a range of different subject ideas and for various ages. And you'll be pleased to know it's a free PDF to download. Again, I put the link down there, but you can find it on our website. So we developed that this year. And then what we've done is we've turned it into some online modules, in the sense that the online modules go over 6 weeks, and they cover, they start on from the real basics of what is CAT4, how do you understand and interpret the data, what do the reports look like, what should I be looking for in the reports, and then each week the teacher will go through a different profile. So it might be that they go from a low ability profile and they spend a week looking at what does that look like in the CAT4 reports, what does that possibly look like in the classroom, what strategies are evidence-based, effective to use in the classroom. And then they're given self-study tasks, and the self-study tasks are some readings from the Strategies for Learning document. There's other suggested readings and articles and things like that that they can engage with to develop their pedagogy and their understanding of the latest in research. And then there's also activities that the teachers can use. So the suggestions of, okay, this week, let's support the students with a spatial bias, work on plan a strategy that you can use with those particular students, try it out, and then reflect and evaluate the effectiveness of it. So it's specifically for classroom teachers, and they can be absolute beginners. There is no need for prior knowledge of CAT4 because it goes from basics of what it is, how to understand the standardized scores, and it builds as the weeks go on. To support utilisation of the CAT4 reports in the classroom with classroom pedagogy. And there is a final optional assessment. So for those teachers that you want to gain a certificate, there is an optional assessment that they can take at the end, which is a series of multiple choice questions to support them in consolidating their understanding of what they've learned. So I put a table together of the different offerings. So if we look at this first column for senior leader, I've put beginner. So this is level 1. So the senior leaders, if you are using CAT4 or the progress test series, the practitioner-led course with Matthew Savage will be useful there. And you may want to engage or with the Return to School webinar series. For those senior leaders, if you are a senior leader that has been in an onboarding course, you've used CAT4 for years, you've got a really solid understanding of CAT4, your attainment test, the PASS survey, then you probably want to look at these courses. So that's level 2. So you've got data triangulation, which is supported by Matthew Savage, and/or the Data for Leadership webinar series. So again, I'll state the Data for Leadership is specifically CAT4 focused. Middle leaders, so I've said heads of year, heads of subject, maybe assessment coordinators. Again, what might be useful if you are just starting out on your journey with us, the practitioner-led courses with CAT4 and progress test series, or the webinar series Return to School will be useful and support your understanding. Depending on, so if you are an assessment coordinator, then the data triangulation course may also be really, really useful. So these ones, data triangulation, practitioner-led, and the data for leadership are really for leadership positions whereby you have a responsibility for assessments and data within your school. And then classroom teachers, we have the new self-guided modules, so CAT4 strategies for learning, that's supporting the understanding and use of CAT4 with evidence-based strategies. And then we have the webinar series, so that covers CAT4, progress tests, NGRT and PASS. They're mini training sessions for that. So hopefully that gives you an idea of, depending on what your role is, what you may have done before, where you feel you want further support and information and guidance. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of what you may wish to pick. We do also have further support resources, and I wanted to put this in here because if you have a specific need for support, or particularly with our webinars and case studies, if you want to hear about what other international schools are doing, that's a really good resource to go to. Webinars, we've got ones run by our team in GL where we talk about the assessments themselves. And then we also have schools that have hosted webinars for us talking about how they've used data within the school. And there's some really excellent examples of how they've triangulated the data, how they have run their training, things like that. So that's a really good place to look. The same with the case studies. So some really good examples from schools, how they've used the data. I put the support pages there because you can also find additional support on our website. So there are documents. CAT4 has a quick start guide, as does PASS, and there's various resources and videos on the website under the support pages there as well. And then finally, the student data case studies. These are excellent. I always recommend these. These were done again by Matthew Savage, and they are brilliant examples. Anonymized, but real examples of students that you typically find in international schools and what the data looks like for them and what it tells you about them. I'd really recommend, if you haven't looked at those before, they're only short, they're about 6 to 8 minutes long, just to listen to how you can get that whole student view that we always talk about from the CAT4 PT series and PASS data. They're really, really good. So there are other resources where you can find additional support and information. So hopefully I've given you a good sense of what we've got on offer. There's lots of different options. But if you have any questions, please, someone said, yes, can you paste the links? Yes, I will. Thank you. I will paste the links in the chat box. If anyone has any questions, please do ask them now. And I can answer them for you if you need greater clarity on certain parts of the courses that we're offering.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jess. So as Jess said, if you've got any questions, please push those through to us in the Q&A box and I can relay those on. One thing I'd like to do, just to emphasize this, is the demand that we get for these courses. And if you are interested, I would encourage you to register early. Some of the Matthew Savage courses had to be postponed from earlier on in the year for fairly obvious reasons, as schools were running around and reorganising and so on. Those courses that are kicking off in September, some of them are pretty much fully subscribed already, with people that have rearranged their schedule. So if you want to get onto those, please do get on and register as soon as possible.